Why hello, welcome to the channel. Today's video I'm going to be doing a fun little sketch with a Bic ballpoint pen. You know, the cheap kind that you can steal from pretty much any bank. I feel like a lot of people think that the art is based on the tool you're using, and I just want to kind of show you that you can make any kind of fun art with even the cheapest pen. So here we go. So to start out here, we're gonna be using Bic ballpoint pens, your standard everyday pen. We got a black and we got red. So I'm just gonna start sketching something weird and we'll see what happens. Sketching in pen is actually pretty fun, but nerve-wracking for some people. I remember when I first started sketching in pen, it is a little bit nerve-wracking because in the back of your head you're thinking how every line you draw is permanent. You know, you're not going to be able to erase it or anything like that. So it's kind of nerve-wracking, but it's also freeing in a certain kind of way where you can just, you know, throw your lines out, sketch, and sort of whatever comes out there is what comes out, and then you sort of just work with what you put down. I feel like when I use pencil, I try and get every line, you know, just right. And if it's not right, you erase it and redraw it. And so with pen, you can kind of just scratch your way around and make decisions on the fly. And if you need to change something, you can kind of draw over it or change it a bit. I feel like ballpoint pens are super nostalgic because I'm pretty sure, besides crayons or pencils, colored pencils, our first pen that we probably use is a ballpoint pen because it's the most accessible pen, the cheapest pen. I mean, in school, they had boxes full of them that they would let you use. You'd accidentally take one from a bank or a used car dealership, and they were just always accessible, always around. I mean, you could pretty much go into anybody's house right now and flip over a couch cushion and boom, cheap ballpoint pen. Or go in your car right now and open a glove compartment or search on the floor somewhere. Boom, cheap pen. They're just everywhere. A couple more nerdy little nostalgic memories I can think of is the fact that it pretty much will always work except when it doesn't. And then when it doesn't work, everybody does that old scribbling on your palm trick to try and get it to work. And some people would, you know, get a piece of paper and press really hard and scratch as fast as they could to see if it would start working. Other people, I remember, would lick the tip of the pen and, you know, that would get it to start working. Everybody had their own way of getting a ballpoint pen to start working again, and I found that really funny. For the design, I just started sketching out a face. In the back of my head, I kind of thought I would probably draw maybe a skull or something like that. And then I ended up starting with a skull and sketching around, giving him bigger circular eyes. And right here, I'm just giving him a curly Q, like a Clark Kent Vault Boy hairdo. And of course, you gotta have a screaming face with a lot of spittily driplets going on to make it disgusting. So of course, I'm adding those in right here. One thing that I don't think ballpoint pens get enough credit for is the fact that they are actually pretty good at shading. I've tried gel pens, and sometimes there's just too much ink coming out. Acrylic paint markers are just all or nothing. But like ballpoint pens, depending on how you held it, an angle, how lightly or hard you would push on it, you could get some really nice shading going on, different light and dark. Sometimes I would just grab a piece of paper and practice shading lighter and darker and making little boxes. I was using a ballpoint pen before I even knew the differences in pen size. Like nowadays I know all about different millimeter tip sizes and the difference between gel pens, fine liners, and fancy fountain pens. But back then it was easier to just grab whatever pen you found and started doodling. And I'm sure that we've all done the old doodle on the phone thing, where you're basically sitting there at the table or your desk at work and you have to talk on the phone with somebody. And for some reason, there just always happens to be a cheap pen laying around and a notepad, and you're just sitting there talking on the phone and finding yourself doodling circles and stars. Or I used to always do like a little mini cyclone or a tornado. But yeah, I always found that funny. You sit there and talk on the phone, and one thing that all of us tend to do is just start doodling with whatever pen we can find. So I originally was just going to give him empty skull eyes, but then I started drawing pupils, started filling in the black skull eyes, and sort of just ended with giant black pupils. I don't know, I felt like it was spooky but also kind of funny, so I just went with these ginormous eyeballs, and it kind of stuck. And then I sort of just shaded it in. A lot of times when I'm on vacation, I'll try and leave my pens at home and go relax and have a good time. But you can't always stop the drawing bug. And a lot of times you'll be sitting in your hotel room, and the hotel's always got the bedside pen and a little notepad with the hotel logo on it. And I can't tell you how many times I've drawn weird little spooky drawings all over those notepads while I'm bored and just hanging out on vacation. I should look around and see if I can find any of them, or if I brought any of them home. I feel like most of them went into the garbage, or I just forgot about them. And I'm sure I probably left little spooky demon boys drawn on a piece of paper for the cleaning lady to find after I checked out. I'm sure she had fun with that. This is totally random, but I remember when I was a kid, I used to draw these little stick figure army guys, and they would usually be fighting some type of monster, demon, dragons, whatever it is. But I just remember I would draw these intricate little drawings of a whole entire battlefield, kind of just an entire storyline and all the mini battles that are taking place. And I would draw it in ballpoint pen in black, and then I had a specific red ballpoint pen for the blood. So not a lot's changed now. I might have changed paints and mediums and different styles of art supplies, but I usually always have a black and a red paint or pen for that reason. As an artist, I'm all about trying new pens. It's one of my favorite hobbies to do, is discover new pens, try new pens. But some of them honestly get kind of pricey. And I was looking up for this video just out of curiosity how much a box of ballpoint pens would be. And you can get a box of 60 for $6 on Amazon. And that's just crazy. You could get a whole entire box of pens and just fill an entire sketchbook full of weird doodles just going crazy, man. Sketching and sketching it, tossing them, throwing them away. You could blast through an entire box and not even feel bad about it. So I feel like with it being such a good price, it is a great pen to use for sketching if you want to sketch in pen.
I'm here. Behind you, look. Behind you. I'm behind you.
For my final thoughts, I do believe you can pretty much draw any weird, imaginative, crazy thing you can come up with just a simple, cheap pen. It's fun to have all those special pens or different sizes for all the different techniques and things you want to do. But when it comes down to it, if you just need to sketch some weird little skull on a piece of paper, a cheap pen will totally work. So after all that scratching and scribbling, here is the final sketch we ended up with. All right, I hope you had a good time and enjoyed the sketch. I liked his super big eyes. I thought that was fun. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, throw down a like or a comment, or hey, maybe even subscribe. And until next time, stay creepy.